Welcome to the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we're pushing the limits in business, life, and health. And Mr. Michael Stahl is getting up right now to put his Santa mask on, because we just found out on Facebook Live we can do this with masks on, and it is our Christmas episode 22. We're talking about mingling and networking. And you know what? Around the holidays, what do? You go to Christmas parties, you mingle, and you network, and we're going to help you. We're going to give you 10 points how to be a better mingler, a magnificent mingler. It's coming out of the book, Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, by John C. Maxwell. My name's Brian Benson, and next to me, Mrs. Claus. Oh, sorry. He's got more elves in his back pocket. Wait, is that an elf in your pants, or just he's Mr. Mike Stahl?
Wow.
I went through a lot right there, but hey, he's going to read out Dominate Your Day, and we're going to dive right into it. Check it out on michaelstahl.com and order it for the holidays.
All right. That never settle attitude means you're not going to accept status quo. It means that you're never going to try to be somebody other than yourself. You're always going to give your best effort with things and do right, even when nobody is watching. It means you're going to wake up every day and dominate like there's going to be no tomorrow. It means you're part of a higher calling and stronger movement, like that Unstoppable Pursuit movement, than just yourself. It means you owe it not only to you, but to your family, your friends, your loved ones, your coworkers, that you're going to do your absolute best and lift them up in the process. It means that you are not going to accept anything other than your destiny. To dominate today, I will laugh.
Boom, baby. We are ready to rock and roll, my friends. So, like I said, what do we do around the holidays? And most of our journeys is we network. We build networks. We build large resources and things to help us get through things get done through people. How can we network better? And we're going to go through 10 of these right now. So number one on the list that Mike and I are going to talk about is, number one, a magnificent mingler possesses the ability to make others feel comfortable.
If people feel uncomfortable around you when you talk, that's probably not a good thing, okay? Like for any aspect of your life, you're probably going to be single the rest of your life, and you're probably not going to do anything in business. Like literally, you have to, you know, when you're connecting with someone, you have to just make them feel comfortable by being yourself and not like going at them like in a threatening way, but by getting them to break down that barrier and just make them feel comfortable, make them feel welcome, and kind of make them feel safe. You know what I mean? Kind of how you feel when I'm around you, Brian. You just want to like cuddle up with me.
Yeah, I do.
And you know, you feel comfortable when you're around
together.
me.
Yeah, you know, I agree, and I think too many people lack the self-awareness a lot of the time to make others feel comfortable. They aren't putting themselves in the other person's shoes.
Exactly.
Like they don't know what
point.
they're. Sometimes they don't say things.
We lost both of our
I
Santas,
know.
so that's okay.
I
That's
saw
okay.
earlier, so I was like, we're getting into it. So, but that's what I'm saying is like put yourself in their shoes for a minute, and then to make people feel comfortable, like it's okay to be a little bit vulnerable. It's okay to like be a little bit more transparent and to put yourself out there. A little bit more so people break down those barriers and say, hey, look, I know where this person's coming from. I can feel that they're okay with who they are in their own skin, so that, you know, people mimic people.
Right.
And some ways you can do that is like, hey, look, if you're talking to somebody, like some ways you could do that is like creating the same sort of position they are. If they're sitting there with their arms crossed, probably closed off. This is body language stuff. But maybe you cross your arms, and then maybe they put their hand like this. Like, you could put your hand on your face. Like, mimic what they're doing. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Roboto. And then, but what it does is actually makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, you understand what they're saying. Also to make people feel comfortable. Like I think maybe good questions is in here. But ask good questions. Ask things that they're going, like, you know, I wouldn't go straight into the, you know, when's the last time you got laid conversation. You know what I mean? Like, let's just have self-awareness around it.
Yeah, so. I like what you said. Put yourself in their position. I think breaking the ice and maybe like kind of joking, like I find it for me, like an easy way is to make them laugh or to joke around with them, so you break the ice and they instantly kind of relax and start to feel more comfortable. You know what I mean?
Agreed, 100%.
But in a professional way.
Yeah, right.
You know? All right, number 2, great minglers appear to be confident and at ease.
You know, this is the way that you walk into a room. If you're walking into a room, shoulders down, head down, kind of like, I don't know, like you're not exuding confidence or at ease. This is a big thing about body language, I really believe, but I've done some studies. I studied off this woman named Amy Africa. She had this whole interpersonal communication body language. But a way you can do that, like when you walk into a room, like put your chest out, like feel that you are an important person, but yet like you are there to add value to everybody in the room, and that will make you seem more like he's a confident person, he's very at ease. The more you shy away and feel a little bit like you're, I don't know what that buzzing noise is, the phone's going on. Oh. So the more you seem not at ease, the more it's going to make the people that you're communicating with a little uneasy.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being confident. There is a big difference between being confident and being cocky, but there's nothing wrong with walking into a room and being tall and walking confidently, speaking confidently, even if you 100% don't feel that. For example, let's say you go in for a job interview or something and like you're a little afraid. That's okay. Like, make it appear, even though you're feeling that anxiety inside, don't let them see that, like make sure that you're confident and you're sitting up tall. Great example is, not that I was afraid or anything, but go back and watch our first couple of podcasts. Yeah. Big Mike was sitting back here like, I'm just like, so, and I'm just like, Brian's like, dude, you need to like sit up taller. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right, but that's a prime example is, standing up tall, sitting up tall when we're talking is going to project a better, I don't know what you would call it, a better vibe to the watchers and listeners.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and think about anybody that you've ever really communicated with. Like, you can tell that people have, like you said, the fine line between confidence and cocky. But one way to help yourself is, and I watched this, it was a TED video actually, but it was a woman talking about body language. But a couple of things that you can actually do, just like some tips and tricks, is like go in the bathroom like by yourself before you enter a room and stand big, like spread out like huge, do some power stances, like hands on hips, like Superman, like do some power stances. Yeah, but this will boost your confidence as a person and you'll feel bigger, you'll feel like you're taking up more space, and then when you walk in a room you'll exude that energy.
Yeah, I like that.
So the next one on our list, number 3, to be a magnificent mingler is have an ability to laugh at them. Magnificent minglers have an ability to laugh at themselves, not at others.
As soon as I read this, I wrote down in my notes my mom to remind me that my mom used to always tell me, she's like, Michael, you take yourself way too serious. Like, learn to laugh at yourself. You take everything so serious. And she's like, it's okay to laugh and to make fun of yourself and stuff like that. And I've taken... I've been more open to that moving forward. I'm still not the best at it because I'm serious. I'm goal-oriented and I'm focused about shit, but like, I mean, you and I, we make fun of ourselves a lot.
All the time.
Yeah, like we usually, like before we go live, like we're like making fun of ourselves and each other and stuff like that. So, I think that laughter adds an extreme amount of value when you're trying to talk to people because making them laugh is magnetic.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and when you can laugh at yourself, like it actually shows more like confidence and like who you are as a person. Like, dude, I can laugh at myself all day, and like, Mike and I take this stuff very, very seriously. We take what we do very seriously, but we don't take ourselves that seriously, and Mike's working on that, clearly.
Yeah.
But Mike takes himself...
Yeah, I am, Brian. I'm working on it,
he
okay?
takes himself a little bit more serious than I do. Look at the podcast picture. But the cover photo. But the reality is, like, we really do have a... Like, when you can laugh at yourself, like, laughing at others is not going to help you mingle better. But if you can have a good joke and then like kind of crack up at yourself, like, oh my gosh, I do something this or something stupid, blah, blah, it helps, you know? Like if you ever watched a comedian.
I
who
was
makes
just
fun of-
going to say that.
All right, go into it.
No,
then.
I was just going to say, think about a comedian. Comedians make fun of themselves all the time. It makes us laugh, and then we want to hear more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a simple formula. But yeah, I mean, it's just, comedians are notorious for making fun of themselves because it makes the audience laugh, and it makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah,
you know, and
because
at
they
ease.
relate to it and go, oh my God, that's been me too. But
Yeah.
you don't call somebody out on it and like try to laugh at them. You laugh at yourself first, and then people will feel more open.
Right.
to
There's
you.
only certain people that you laugh at, but then you don't tell them about it. You just
Yeah,
do it behind
like
their
Mike
back.
laughs at me
I'm just
all
kidding.
the time.
Just kidding. Number 4, great minglers and networkers show interest in others. They maintain eye contact, self-disclose, ask questions, and actively listen.
I mean, this is mingling and networking 101, right?
Yeah,
I mean, this
yeah.
is probably the best point for that because it's like when you meet somebody, it's you have good eye contact, you
one-on-one.
have this yeah, right. Like I'll tell you who, you know, I've been around some very, very successful people in my life and have been very blessed to be around these people. Many of you may know or not know, like I run an interview show where I interview entrepreneurs, CEOs, and many of them have been multimillionaires and things. But the one thing I notice about them when they're networking, and you just said it perfect, is when you talk to them, they make you feel like you are the only person in the room. Like they're not distracted by other people or anything. Like I went to a huge event with Neil Strauss, who wrote The Game. He wrote, you know, he's huge into personal development. And I remember I approached him, and it was like he was so focused on me. He asked me great questions, made eye contact, and actively listened to me as I was like talking to him. And I'm sitting here going, man, this guy's got hundreds of people in this room that want his attention.
Right.
There was people like
Attention,
standing right
yep.
next to me, like wanting to talk to him. He didn't look off of me one time. He listened to me, asked me questions, actively listened. And I was like, damn, this is why this guy's a great connector.
Yeah, and I think most of the time when you are doing your mingling and your networking, it's like you said, it's with a lot of people.
Yeah,
in
right.
a big room, maybe a big auditorium, and there is a lot of commotion going on. So by focusing in on that one person that you're talking to, I mean, they're saying, listen, you're important. I got my blinders on like a horse. You know, like I'm not looking to the sides. I'm focused on you. And there's nothing more powerful than giving that person that attention. So right there, you're already building that relationship. You're putting that $100 bill right on top of your head, of their head, like what you said. You are of value to me.
Yeah, and that's the I think it was, what was it? Not last episode, but the episode before we talked about that. Like if you want to be an excellent networker and mingler, you put that person is the most valuable person to you at that moment when you're talking to them.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
The next one, if you're going to be a magnificent mingler and networker, is they extend themselves to others. They lean into a greeting with a firm handshake and a smile.
This one I like because for those that are listening, you just didn't see Brian's awkward greeting and kind of leaning towards me. But this is an important one, and I never thought about this much back in the day, but now being in business, I do, is that there's people that I've come across where I shake their hand, and they look at me eye to eye. Nice to meet you. I'm so-and-so. But I also remember a lot that they may shake my hand and they're not looking at me and stuff. And I'm like, dude, like look at me. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm looking at you, man. Like this is us one-on-one. Like this is our moment. You know, like we're meeting. So like, I'm not saying like, oh, look at me. Like you need to look at me. You know what I mean, like that. But I'm saying like I notice that now. Like being in business, it's like, I have the respect for you. I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to look you in the eye and tell you my name. I want you to do the same thing to me. Like I've had people that they come up to me and they're like this and they're like, hey, bro, nice to meet you.
And
I'm
they're
just
looking
like,
everywhere else.
What are you doing, dude? Like I'm right here. Like I'm trying to talk to you. You know what I mean? So that's what I think of when I see this. But then I've also had people that have gone way out of their way to do a handshake with me that is way overboard as far as like, dude, I feel like they're trying to break my hand. But I can tell they're doing it on purpose. Like dude, firm handshake, man. You don't have to go overboard with that, but also none of.
Oh yeah, the dead fish. You're not the queen here.
Like don't lean your hand in like I'm about to kiss your hand. You know?
I ain't kissing your ring.
Like just just shake someone's hand, firmly, not super hard over the top like you're trying too hard, but just be yourself. Shake their hand, look them in the eye. There's nothing more genuine than that.
You know, Mike, and you bring up such a good point. Like I have been around those people, and it's sometimes those bros that just think they're so cool, and they do this firm, hard handshake like they own you. A way to disarm that is exactly kind of what you did to me. So usually...
By the way, I think this is very relevant, what you're talking about. Like about this, because I think this happens a lot where people try too hard on the initial greeting.
I know.
You know, they either undershake or way overshake. But go on, what you were going to say.
So like when we handshake, so they come in real hard, but they always try to be on top, right? So the best way to disarm that is if you were the other way, you put your hand right on there. It's great to meet you.
You know what? I do that. I do that. Like, but
because they are trying to show their dominance, so they come in hard and they go on top. So you just put your hand on top of them slightly, and that disarms the conversation. That disarms their trying to be the alpha male, and it totally just relaxes it. You can turn it back the other way. Yeah.
But see, I never looked at it from that point of view. I've always come in and I've always gone like this, like not to show dominance, but to just be like reassuring, like relaxing. I'm nice. Like I'm like, hey man, good to see you, or a woman, very nice meeting you.
It's
like
totally
it's like
different.
A respect thing.
It is.
You're talking about Sylvester Stallone over the top on the. Have you seen the movie?
No.
Oh, so it's the old one. He goes over the top, baby. Boom! Arm wrestling. For those that are listening and watching, if you know Sylvester Stallone on Over the Top, you know what I'm talking about. But that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so
true.
They
will come in but what you're saying is a little bit different. If you're coming in same, nice firm handshake where you're just allowing your hand to go on top of there saying, I recognize you, I appreciate you, it is a very pleasure to meet you. Different than when the bro comes in like looking around trying to put his hand on top, like whatever.
See, I always thought that meant like, hey bro, you're on top bunk, I'm on bottom. Like, okay man, like it's cool.
Yeah, well
I'm just kidding. No, but that's honestly interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah,
and then with the thing, because I've always done that, but I never really thought about it. It was, that's interesting. See, I'm learning stuff too.
You could disarms the alpha male immediately, and someone that's shaking your hand that thinks that they're above you because you're not good enough to be in the room with them, and that's not cool. That's not a good mingler.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's
all right.
that one.
Okay, number 6. Great minglers convey sense of energy and enthusiasm.
Don't even try to say.
No, I'm looking at that and I'm like, is this English? What the heck? Convey a sense of energy and enthusiasm.
Here's what I got to say about this. When you meet with anybody, when you are out mingling at the bar or at a Christmas party, a networking event, you always want to have slightly higher energy than the people that you're approaching. I'm not saying like, hey, but I am saying have a little bit more energy than the people that you are, hey, great to meet you, like have more energy because it's going to elevate them. It's a sign of like they feel excited, they see an excitement, and it will bring their energy up. They will feel more magnetic to you and attached to you, like this person it likes to have fun. So that's something that I learned in the past is like when you're walking by people and you see people have slightly higher energy than when you approach them, because we all been approached by the guys like, hey, nice to
exactly. And like, you do that and then you think, wow, you're a dud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, dude, like what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like did you do drugs and you're like down right now? Like what's up? You know?
Totally. And so, I mean, and you don't want to look like you're on drugs and speed or something like, the other way, too much energy. Sometimes I have a lot of energy, but yes, you definitely want to make sure that when you meet people, there's a little bit more enthusiasm and energy when you approach them. All right, the next one here is 7. Here we go. I got lost. The next quality of a magnificent mingler is they're well-rounded, well-informed, and well-mannered. This is you to a T, bro.
I watch the news all the time.
Yeah.
And I circled well-rounded and well-informed because one thing that I realized is You know, like when I was personal training one-on-one and I was in the country club and I was training a higher net worth end of people, I wanted to have a common ground and be able to bring something to the conversation. So I always watched the news in the morning so that I would get like the top like 5 stories of what's going on, so that when I'm training them and we're talking, I'm able to be like, yeah, did you see what happened, so-and-so, and this happened and that, and we're having good conversation. I consider myself well-rounded, well-informed, so that we can connect on a common ground, no matter who it is, you know? So I never used to watch the news when I was younger, but now I watch the news now quite a bit in the morning. I'll watch a little bit at night, just to stay on top of like things that are going on in the world, so that I can have conversation if I go to the Ritz-Carlton, or I can have conversation if I go to the gym and I'm working out. You know what I mean? Just have common ground, a common denominator with people.
Mike, I mean, I couldn't have said it any better.
I watch Therese Benson every morning, so I'm up to date on the traffic. Wink News, shout out.
You hit the nail on the head, and I can't really say it much better except reiterate the fact that, like, you definitely need to have something in your back pocket at all times when for wherever you go, so you can have a conversation with the President of the United States or the guy who is cleaning the bathrooms at the country club, like whatever.
Right.
Like you need to have something, but you need to be informed. You need to spend time learning stuff. And I'll be honest, like I was terrible at that when I was in the insurance business. All I cared about was sports. And so I would go and do these things. Like, I'll remember it. I went to a networking event, and it was during the presidential election, I think. Not the last one, but the one before that. I can't even remember who was in it. But anyway.
Benson Stahl 2020.
2020, baby, Benson Stahl. And we were talking about the exemption. Like, are they going to get rid of the estate tax?
Okay.
And the guy's like talking about, and I had no clue what the hell this guy was talking about. He's talking to this other guy, He looks at me and goes, what do you think is going to happen? And I was like, with my glass of wine, I was like, and I totally, dude, I couldn't even say anything. I go, I don't really
happened
know.
to all of us, though.
I know, but it was embarrassing. But you know what? All it took was me doing what you did. Watch the freaking news for 20 minutes in the morning, and I'd have a little bit more education so I can have these conversations. And I totally froze up. It was an embarrassing moment because there was 4 of us, and this guy was asking each person, and I didn't think he was even going to ask me. And then he went to me, and it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I'll just be really honest. It was a terrible. It was a big mistake. I was not well informed. I was not well mannered at the time. And I just didn't have I didn't have the confidence in what it took to really get there. But that goes from educating yourself.
It probably didn't help that you were like 4 glasses of wine deep.
Yeah, that didn't help either.
And you were like pissing over in the bushes on the golf course, and he's like, Brian, when you finish up over there, come over here and tell us what you think about it. You know what I mean? No, but you know, it'll happen. You'll be in a social environment and you'll be networking, and there will be some things that you don't know shit about shit. And it's like you just got to find a way to blend in and figure it out.
Even
you know what I mean?
Even if you know the tiniest bit, like I'm sure they would mention something to you while you were like training them, and even if you knew this much about a topic, you were still
you could have said something like very like ambiguous and said something like, be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could go either way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm almost sort of neutral on it or something. That's what you could have said, and he would have been like,
well, why are you telling me this now? I knew this 6 years ago.
Cheers, bro. Cheers. That's what he would have said, you know?
But it's the reality is I just didn't have it at the time, Mike. But what you said was so important, and I love that, dude. I think that everybody should implement that. And I don't know how to say this.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
I'm just going to go right to the next one. So number 8 is magnificent minglers prepare stories of actual occurrences that are interesting, humorous, and appropriate.
This one's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of tied in with number 7 a little bit, you know, but I guess you just, and I think I have done this on occasion, you just have to have funny stories. Like, you know, things that you remembered in the past that maybe you think if you were in a social setting and you said that it might be funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everyone has like certain stories that are, you know, still professional that you can say in a group setting. I can't think of anything off the top of my head on this one. But I know what it's saying, though, because I've done it before.
Exactly.
You know, like where I went to, let's say I went to a charity event, and the next thing you know, like I'm telling some random story that doesn't really have to do with anything with the charity, but it's just a funny story that I remember at that moment in time, and I shared it, and maybe people thought it was funny or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, look, if you know, I would love to really give you guys something on storytelling, but learn how to be a good storyteller. If you suck at telling stories, like, save people. Like, you've all been around those people that tell those stories at inappropriate times and things, and the word that sticks out to me is like appropriate.
Yeah.
And the one acronym I'm going to give you all is KYA. Know your audience.
Yeah.
100%. So my wife, we're going to a wedding, for a cousin's wedding, and she was like, oh, like, I'm going to give like 3 like funny marriage tips. And I said to her, I said, oh, tell the guy to pull out because we're pregnant. We got, pregnant very shortly after we got married. And she goes, hun, KYA. Know your audience. That would not be funny in front of my family. And I was like, you're right. Yeah, I better not say anything.
Wow.
So, yeah, I just
Might have been crickets on that one.
Would have been crickets. Speak from the heart.
Yeah. No, I get it though. Yeah,
So,
I think
you know what I mean,
appropriate's
but-
right. Yeah. No, totally.
It's funny. So,
All right, number 9, great minglers and networkers introduce people to each other with an infectious enthusiasm. There is no other kind that motivates conversation between the
introducees.
introducees. Wow. Is that French?
Introducees. Oui. So, what I love about this is, and we've all done it, and I'm sure maybe Mike has had a similar experience. Have you ever been like hanging out with your friend and
I got mine already.
or have you ever been with somebody and you did not, and like somebody approaches you, like, I'll just give it my wife for example. Someone came up, hey Brian, what's up, man? How's it going? And I didn't introduce her.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty. Yes, I've been guilty of that.
100%.
For sure.
And she's just like, way to introduce me.
I
Or
know,
she
yeah.
goes, hey, I'm Trace, I'm Brian's wife. And I'm like, oh God, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like, you start sweating, like, oh, what an idiot. Like,
I've done that.
That's and I think that to me, like, and I love the with enthusiasm, like saying like something good, like, hey, this is my buddy Mike Stahl. He's an amazing like health and wellness expert. He's an entrepreneur, and this is blah blah blah. And then you guys meet. But I think introducing people when you go to a networking event, when you're standing around people, don't be frickin' rude and not do it.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm guilty of that with my wife for sure. She's gotten on me several times about that. And that's by accident. Obviously, it's not because I'm not excited to introduce her. I just, things happen so quickly sometimes that I forget.
Yeah.
But I wrote you down for this because I know for a fact that if you and I were together at a business event and we were networking, the first thing I would do is, this is my buddy Brian. He developed InspireLink. Like, he is absolutely crushing it. Like, I would like talk you up with enthusiasm. Same thing for like, say, my realtor, George Oberdorser, who was on watching this podcast earlier. There's been numerous times where I've been with him and I'm like, oh, this is my realtor, George. He just sold my home for $50,000 over appraised value. Like, he is crushing it in real estate. Like, this is George. Like, you know what I mean? Like, enthusiasm. Like, you're putting them up on a pedestal, which, we're using each other as an example. I'm using George, so now our wives are going to absolutely hate us. We didn't focus in on them on the podcast, so now we're screwed.
God. All right, we're going to introduce you ladies better, I promise. We're working on it. But yeah, it's very true. Like, and it's exactly what you said. How much more of an impact when you guys think about this is it when somebody else tells you how awesome, like Mike could go up to you and say, hey, I'm a health and wellness expert, I'm an author, I'm a public speaker, I've done all this stuff. But like, what kind of credibility is that? That's just like Mike's boasting about himself.
If you have to tell someone how great you are, you're probably not that great. But when it comes from someone else, it holds more value.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So when you're in a network and mingling situation, you definitely want to talk people up in that way and make sure that it's like appropriate and good things about that person, but have the enthusiasm.
And then if you speak in third person, then you really sound like an ass. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
I'm Mike,
yeah.
but I want you to meet Mike. Mike is great. Hey, I'm Mike. You know what I mean? Then shit
I've
gets
never done that.
confusing.
It gets really confusing. I love to talk in third person. Okay. All right, number 10, last one here. To be a magnificent mingler, you need to convey respect and genuinely like people, the core of communicating.
I'm going to make this very simple. Be nice.
Yes.
Be genuine. Be respectful. And then the quote that I wrote down in here is, it's very nice to be important, but it's very, very important to be nice.
Oh.
You know? Like, if you're not a nice person, people aren't going to want to talk to you. Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia.
If you
know
guys
what I
are
mean?
listening to this, pull over
Be
in your
nice.
car and write that quote down.
It's nice to be important, but it's very, very important to be nice. And I think that when you're trying to mingle and network, again, the whole basis of communication is having a mutual respect and just being nice to each other.
I know.
Boom. That's it.
Drop the mic.
That's the end of this podcast. We're going to end
Thank
it
you, everybody.
on
We'll see
22.
you.
We're not going to do another one ever again. Just kidding.
But it's so true, and like and what Mike's saying is like take take a genuine interest in people. You know, don't be a false networker. Don't go in with BS, your own things that you don't want to go into a situation just with your own agenda in mind. Like, really add value to people, really care about people, and really take the time to get to know people and be nice.
Yes, and I want to read this at the
Yeah.
end. Who is this book by?
This is by John C. Maxwell.
Okay, shout
Everyone
out.
communicates, few connects.
So
shout
Maxwell says, and we'll end with this one before we do our challenge and our health tip, is it says, by my count, at least 7 out of these 10 require energy. If you want to connect with others but are hoping you can do so without being intentional, forget about it. Connecting and mingling and networking always requires energy. So shout out to
Maxwell.
5 Hour Energy. If you want to sponsor this podcast, hit us up at unstoppablepursuit@gmail.com.
We now accept sponsorships, and thank you, 5 Hour Energy, for possibly thinking about doing
In
this.
advance, thank you.
In advance, yes, we're advancing, thank you. So I love it, Mike. Thank you so much. The challenge is exactly what Mike just read, and I think that if 7 out of 10 of these require it, I would just say 10 out of 10 require it.
Yeah.
Have energy when networking and mingling. Please, this is something that I take very seriously, and I know Mike does too. Like, networking is relationships, the ROI on relationships and networking, you will never know how big that is. People underestimate how much you can get done through people. You never know who you're going to meet, who is going to take you to the next level, who can help you, who you can help. Please be very, very self-aware when networking. I don't care if you're in college and the guy's next to you playing beer pong, like network, be nice, but have energy when you do this. Like, please, that's the challenges. Bring a little bit higher energy to all of these 10 points. Go back and listen to the podcast if you need to, but have energy, please. Do not be a dud in the room. Do not be the dead fish. Nobody wants to network with that person.
Amen to that, brother.
That's it. Mike, give us
Amen
that
to
health
that.
tip. We got to get healthy.
It's time to be
here.
healthy, y'all. So the health tip for this particular segment is all about coffee. I hear people demonizing coffee all the time. Oh, coffee this, coffee that. Yeah. Now, anything that's caffeinated is going to dehydrate you. So if you're drinking any type of caffeinated beverage, make sure that you're drinking plenty of water to stay hydrated, okay? But the number one stimulator of what we call the NRF2 pathway, which is a built-in antioxidant system in your own body. It's in your own body, NRF2 pathway. Look it up. Drinking coffee is the number one stimulator of that antioxidant system. So the studies do show that people that drink 1 to 3 cups of joe a day, it helps with a lot of different things in your body, specifically detoxing your own body. But it'll lower your chances, and look up the research. You can even go on Dr. David Perlmutter's website. He's a huge advocate of this. About a 40 to 50% reduction of your chance of developing any type of dementia down the road, or Alzheimer's, all these different neurodegenerative diseases, of the brain. So coffee, very, very healthy. Drink 1 to 3 cups a day. That's what the research shows. Anything above and beyond that, I don't really know. Too much of anything is probably not a good thing. So definitely drink your cup of joe, assuming that you're not putting a lot of sugar in it and different, types of things. Like I do organic half and half, and a little bit of cinnamon. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of stevia in there. But other than that, I try not to do like sugar-free creamers because it has a lot of sucralose, which I talked about in a previous segment. So drink your coffee in the morning. Everyone will thank you for it too, because you'll be more awake and you'll be less grouchy, okay?
Yay! Hey, we're recording this episode around Christmas, so I hope everybody has an awesome holiday. Thank you all for joining. Please subscribe, rate, and review. Check us out on IG. Check us out on unstoppablepursuit.com. Mike and I are now speaking at your company. We are here for hire. We are here for you. We are here to build more motivated and
like
happy
our Facebook page
employees, like our new Facebook page, Unstoppable Pursuit.
And if you'd like to sponsor a segment, please hit us up, because things are advancing fairly quickly for us. And if you'd like to get on our segment, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the future. Maybe bringing in some live audience members, maybe switching up the location. We're looking at different things, so hit us up if you want to be a part of the Unstoppable Pursuit.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all. We love you. Subscribe, rate, and review, and we'll see you all on the next episode.
See ya.